Hey everyone, welcome back. We're diving into a genre that always seems to have something new: cooking, crafting, survival games.
And with Exelio on the horizon, everyone's looking for something to scratch that crafting itch.
Yeah, 2025 feels like a long way off. But that's why we're here. We've got 10 games, each with its own spin on surviving and thriving.
We'll break down what makes them unique, the setting, the mechanics, the little details.
Exactly, so let's jump right into it. First up, a game that really put the survival in crafting survival. Don't Starve.
Oh, Don't Starve. It's notorious for a reason, you know, that kind of gothic, Tim Burton-esque wilderness.
Oh, yeah.
Where even the trees seem to want you dead. It's charming, sure,
Yeah.
but in a dark way, unforgiving, and pretty funny at times, too.
The humor, right. It's like, where else could you get a game that calls raw meat questionable sustenance?
Exactly. They nail that feeling of scrounging for scraps, but somehow make it funny.
Yeah, they make it fun.
They don't shy away from the brutality of it all, but there's always a chuckle around the corner.
Even when you're being chased by a giant eyeball monster.
Especially then. Speaking of unforgiving, if you want a real test, there's always the long dark.
Oh man, the long dark, that atmosphere, right? I remember seeing the screenshots, all snow-covered landscapes, those abandoned towns.
It's environmental storytelling done right. You're not fighting zombies here, you're battling the cold, the hunger. Just finding shelter is a victory.
It makes you think about every decision. Risk a wolf-infested valley for firewood, or ration what little you have left.
Exactly. It's about appreciating the small things.
Like a dry pair of gloves, or can of beans.
But for those who'd rather forge their own path, there's Kenshi. Kenshi. Now there's a game where you can be whoever you want to be.
Right. Want to be a trader, braving the wastes, go for it. Warrior, building your own squad, done. Or hey, just live a quiet life farming. If you can manage it, more power to you.
Let's just say the locals can be a bit much. You've got factions, slavers, cannibals, giant beak things.
Yeah, you're not some chosen one in Kenshi either. You start with nothing, figure it out, survive.
And that's the beauty of it. Every scar tells a story, every victory is earned.
It's a tough world out there.
It really is. And speaking of crafting, let's head to a world where imagination is king.
Terraria.
Terraria. Man, this one takes me back. The pixel art, the digging, that moment you finally take down the Eye of Cthulhu and you feel like you can take on anything.
It just blends action, adventure, and creativity so well. Right, you can build these elaborate castles, set them all the wiring and defenses.
Hours just disappear setting those up.
Tell me about it, the wiring system. It's like its own game. I remember trying to make a working drawbridge for my castle. Days I spent on that thing. But when it finally worked, man, nothing like it.
Oh, for sure. That sense of accomplishment. And then you've got the exploration side. Each biome is different enemies, resources, things to discover.
And you really want to see it all, uncover every last bit of it.
You've got to, right.
And the boss fights. Giant worms, clowns, a moon lord with a laser beam.
Terraria brings it.
It really does. But speaking of epic, we've got to talk about the game that needs no introduction. Minecraft.
The one and only Minecraft.
Yeah.
Taught a whole generation how to craft, how to survive, how to build anything they could imagine.
And it's more than just placing blocks, right? I still remember figuring out my first redstone contraption.
What was it?
Just a simple automatic door, but it felt like magic.
Oh, yeah. That's the best, that aha moment.
And it makes you think, people are out there making computers in this game.
It's that open-endedness, Survival, creativity, even a way to connect with others. It can be whatever you want it to be.
There's really nothing else quite like it. But what if you took that sandbox idea and added, I don't know, a bit of dark humor and a storyteller with a wicked sense of humor?
RimWorld, where surviving the elements is just the start of your problems.
You're surviving your colonists, let's be honest.
They can be a handful, that's for sure.
The AI storyteller, though, that's the best part.
It's unpredictable. You think you've got things figured out, then bam, raids, disease.
Oh, I had a colonist once, right? Went through a bad breakup, decided to become a pyromaniac.
No way, really.
Yeah, burned down the entire crop field. Disaster. But man, what a story.
That's RimWorld for you, right? Unpredictable, funny, and sometimes a little sad.
And speaking of a little bit sad, let's talk about Frostpunk too. That's a game about tough choices, man, if there ever was one.
Eternal winter, humanity clinging to these giant generators for warmth that makes you...
And you're not just building, you're making decisions that decide the fate of everyone.
It's a lot of pressure, for sure.
Yeah, no kidding. You really feel the weight of every choice you make. No easy answers, just trying to find the least bad option sometimes.
And those are the choices that stick with you, you know? Make you think about what you do when things get rough.
For sure. Definitely not a game to play if you're looking for something lighthearted, but powerful. Definitely powerful. Speaking of powerful experiences, let's shift gears a bit to a world of myth, magic, and probably a good bit of mead. Valheim, the Viking survival game that, well, everyone was talking about.
Yeah, Valheim really captures that feeling of, I don't know, being in a clan, you know?
Yeah.
Especially with friends, building your longhouse, raising a toast, then heading out to fight some trolls.
I love that. And the world is gorgeous too. Those forests, the mountains, it feels huge.
You can spend hours just exploring, sailing around.
Seriously, every corner you turn, there's something new. And the bosses too. That first time you take on Exelio, that stag with the lightning, what a fight.
Those are the moments you remember.
Totally. And it's those victories, those discoveries that make these games so good, you know? But for a different kind of challenge, one where even a puddle seems huge, there's Smalland. Survive the Wilds.
Talk about a change of pace. Shrinks you down to the size of an ant.
I can't even imagine.
You're navigating blades of grass like they're trees.
And a raindrop could take you out.
It really makes you see the world differently. It's all about resourcefulness, thinking on your feet. An acorn becomes a treasure.
I love that. So creative, turning the familiar into something new, something a little scary, honestly.
A little, but that's part of the fun, right?
It is. And to wrap things up, let's dive into one last world, Subnautica.
Ah, Subnautica, and now there's an experience. Beautiful, terrifying, and everything in between.
For the moment you hit the water, it just sucks you in, you know?
The creatures, the colors, the sounds. It's like nothing else out there.
Those bioluminescent fish. It's magical. But then you get deeper, things get a little more intense.
A little, yeah. Remember your first Reaper Leviathan?
Oh, man. That roar still gives me chills.
And the crafting. Building your own base, piece by piece, starting with that escape pod, working your way up.
You really feel like you're making a home down there.
Right. Even when everything wants to eat you.
It's that mix of wonder and fear that makes it so compelling.
And that's what connects all these games, isn't it? That drive to survive, to build, to overcome.
To thrive, even when the odds are stacked against you.
Exactly. And hey, maybe the lessons we learn in these games, they'll come in handy when Exelio finally arrives.
Who knows? We might be better prepared than we think. Well, that was quite a journey. Don't Starve, Subnautica, everything in between. We covered a lot.
And there are so many more out there just waiting to be discovered.
That's the beauty of this genre. There's always something new to explore. So to all our listeners, get out there, try something new, and don't be afraid to die a few times along the way.
It's all part of the fun, right?
Absolutely. Until next time, happy crafting, everyone.